The digestive system of the cat is a lot like ours. After all, we're both mammals, and our organ structures are very similar. But there are some crucial differences because the cat evolved to be an obligate carnivore, while we humans can eat pretty much anything we want. Take a trip with me through your cat's digestive system and find out what makes your cat tick. Typically, a cat swallows her food in chunks rather than chewing. Cat teeth don't have flat chewing surfaces like ours, and cat jaws only move up and down, while ours can move from side to side to aid in the chewing of vegetables and other such material. The tongue positions the food for shredding and tearing and mixes it with saliva to start the breakdown of carbohydrates. After the tongue pushes the food toward the throat, the muscles in this 12 to 15-inch long esophagus move it down to the stomach.
From the esophagus, the food passes through a sphincter into the stomach itself. Here, acid begins a serious breakdown of food, particularly proteins. A cat's stomach acid is strong enough to dissolve bones. The contractions of the stomach mix and grind food with secretions, turning it into a liquid before it passes to the next stage of digestion. The liver, the largest organ in the cat's body, located in the front of the abdominal cavity, the liver filters blood and performs hundreds of other functions not found elsewhere in the body. This organ also helps digest food. The liver can also quickly recover from injury and reproduce tissue. Gallbladder. The gallbladder holds bile until it is needed in the small intestine to digest food. The gallbladder is not essential in the process of digestion, it is just a place to hold bile. Located in the gallbladder, the common bile duct holds onto the greenish-like material called bile. When the right hormonal signals are present, the gallbladder sends bile to the small intestine from this duct.
Located in the upper abdominal cavity, the pancreas has a right and left lobe. The pancreas consists of cells arranged in small sections called lobules. These cells produce a number of digestive enzymes and fluids. The pancreas also produces and secretes hormones that are important in the regulation of blood sugar. The exact location of the spleen is not specifically known because it all depends on its size and shape, but it is found near and around the left part of the abdomen. The spleen has quite a large number of blood vessels. The 5 main functions of the spleen are hematopoiesis, blood reservoir, blood filtration, phagocytosis, and it is the site of immune activities. The mesentery is the curtain-like structure found at the top of the abdomen. It contains blood vessels that travel to and from the gastrointestinal tract. The mesentery also contains lymph vessels that carry nutrients away from the gastrointestinal tract.
So here's the small intestine. The small intestine is the longest part of the cat's digestive system. All nutrients are absorbed there. The small intestine is lined with tiny bodies called villi, which absorb proteins, enzymes, electrolytes, and water. Next is the large intestine. In the large intestine, also known as the colon, the last available water and electrolytes are absorbed from the food. Solid feces form and beneficial bacteria produce enzymes that break down material that is more difficult to digest. And finally, the rectum and anus. Here, the formed feces collect until they are ready to be ejected into the litter bags. The transit time from mouth to anus is about 20 hours. So, why does your cat go to the bathroom shortly after he eats? When food reaches the stomach and the digestive process begins, an eject your cargo signal is sent to the colon. This is called the gastrocolic reflex, and it is why cats feel the urge to poop after they eat.
This is what the digestive system looks like outside the cat's body. Now moving on to the respiratory system, as a cat inhales, fresh air moves through the nose or mouth, pharynx, and larynx to the trachea. The trachea is a tube-like structure used as an airway to supply the lungs with oxygen. Although considered part of the lower respiratory tract, the trachea connects the upper respiratory tract composed of the nasal passages, larynx, and pharynx with the lower respiratory tract composed of the trachea, bronchi, and lungs. Although not seen here, there is a flap of elastic cartilage tissue known as the epiglottis. Its function in the respiratory system prevents food from entering the trachea and moving into the esophagus. Normally, it is pointed upward during breathing with its underside connected to the pharynx. However, when the cat is swallowing, the hyoid bone is drawn upward and the epiglottis folds down into a horizontal position. The esophagus, although typically considered a digestive structure, also has air passed through on its way to the lungs. The esophagus is continuous with the laryngeal part of the pharynx and is composed of three layers: the mucosa, submucosa, and muscularis externa. Just like humans, cats have right and left lungs. Both sides of the lungs are further divided into sections or lobes. The trachea will divide into two smaller tubes, the left and the right bronchi. These bronchi will then divide into even smaller areas, the bronchioles. These continue until air reaches dead-end sacs called alveoli. It is here where the actual exchange between oxygen and carbon dioxide occur. The bronchi lie at the bottom of the trachea and divide into the lungs. The diaphragm is a muscle that separates the lungs from the other organs in the cat. It works with the muscles between the ribs or at the intercostals to perpetuate inspiration or breathing in and exhalation or breathing out. And that concludes the respiratory system of the cat. Thank you all for watching.